guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Allie and we cover true crime cases. And today we are going to be covering the case of Tyler Stice. Tyler was a 20-year-old who lived in Kingman, Arizona, and he went missing in 2016. At the time of his disappearance, Tyler lived with his mother, Stephanie, and his father, Robert, but he went by the name of Brian. So he lived with his mom, Stephanie, and his dad, Brian. Tyler was known to be an introvert, and he was an avid gamer. He loved video games, and that's how he made most of his friends, was through gaming and through social media websites. Tyler's sister Jessica said that his hobbies included photography, cross-country, school band, art, writing, poetry, and of course video games. A former co-worker of Tyler's said in a Facebook post that Tyler was a good worker and that he worked well with others and that everybody liked him. She worked with him at Kmart, and she said that everybody that worked with Tyler liked him and thought that he was a really great worker. At the time of Tyler's disappearance, he was working at a local furnishings company, and he had been there for about a month. And from what I've seen, everybody at that job said that Tyler was a really good worker as well. He primarily worked to pay for his baby, which was a black Ford Mustang, and Tyler was obsessed with this car. He worked hard for this car and he loved it. He also paid rent to his mom. He had a car payment, a cell phone bill. He was working to save up for college, and he went to work almost every single day. He was a workaholic because he wanted to have money for all of those things. In school, Tyler was a good student. He was a great student in high school, and he was going to community college, and he was planning on transferring to a larger university later on. He was just saving up money to be able to do that. And after he went to university, he wanted to fly drones for a police department. That was his dream. So jumping right into what happened with Tyler, on June 20th, 2016, Tyler skipped work. And this was unusual. Like we said, he worked almost every single day, and he hardly ever called off of work. This was just really unusual for him. And it made his mom very curious, and she asked him why he didn't want to go to work. And he told her that he just needed some time to himself, which I think we can all relate to. Everybody needs a day off work every once in a while, but it was just very unusual for Tyler. It was out of character, and his mom didn't really think too much about it at the time, but later on, it definitely raised some red flags for her. So on this day when he skipped work, it said that he left the house for a little while, but came home soon after and spent the afternoon outside with his dad working on his car. And after that, he went back to his room, and when his mom got home from work, Tyler was already in his room for the night, and so she didn't have any further interaction with him that day. So the next day, on June 21st, 2016, it appeared that Tyler woke up at about 5:30 a.m. to head into work. There were signs that he packed a lunch and that he got ready for work as he normally did. Later that afternoon, though, his mom realized that something was wrong. Tyler's boss called his mom trying to locate him. He said that he didn't show up for work, and this was the second day in a row. And like we said, it's highly unusual, and especially for him to not show up a second day in a row. So his mom was really confused and started looking for Tyler. So Tyler's mom started calling family, trying to figure out if anybody had heard from him, and nobody had. So at that point, she went to the police station to try to fill out a missing persons report. But just like our case last week, and like so many cases that we hear of, the police told her that there was nothing that they could do for 48 hours. 4 days go by, and we're at June 25th, 2016. And the family received some news from the police. So after the 48 hours had gone by, police started looking into where Tyler had gone. So 4 days after anybody had seen him, on June 25th, Tyler's black Ford Mustang was found at the Deer Creek Recreation Area, and no one knows how long his car had been there. His car was found on a road that runs through the Hualapai Mountains, and it was through the Hualapai Mountain Road. This road is 46 miles long, and from what I've seen, it's super light traffic on that road. The only people that are on that road are the people that are headed through to take a hike or to enjoy the scenic view. And it's listed online as a scenic view, and from what I've seen, it's a really curvy road, and there's not many homes or buildings along this road. It's pretty desolate. In his car, they obviously did not find Tyler, and they didn't really find any of his other belongings. They didn't find his wallet or his phone or his keys. They were all missing, and the car exterior was really, really clean for it to have driven down this road. Like we said, it's out in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. It should have been dirtier than it was, especially for it to have been sitting there for a few days. So authorities that located Tyler's car and were looking at it, they noted in their report how clean the car was. This was a very important fact to them. In the car, they did find Tyler's laptop bag, but there was no laptop. And in the trunk, they found his camera. There was no signs of violence, and the car was working just fine. So there was no reason why Tyler would have abandoned the car. There was nothing wrong with it. So back to that camera. Tyler's sister, Jessica, said that he would never have left that camera in that car. She was really close to him, and she knew that he was obsessed with his camera, and he pretty much took it everywhere. So she knew that he wouldn't leave that behind if he were running away or leaving. And when they looked at the memory card that was in the camera, Jessica realized that there were pictures missing from the memory card. She said that they had been on a four-wheeling trip recently, and there were some pictures on there that she knew Tyler took on that trip. But there were also some pictures missing from that trip that were deleted off of the camera, and nobody knows why. And there were no signs of the pictures anywhere. So it was just kind of strange that these pictures got deleted off of his camera. Family was very, very concerned. They have said that Tyler was not outdoorsy. He did not like hiking. He didn't like fishing. He didn't want to be in the mountains. He just wanted to play video games. And so it was very unusual for his car to be found up on a mountain road in the middle of nowhere. However, the police believed that he decided to go hiking and that he probably got lost. The family doesn't believe this, but that's what police are saying. Police dogs were called in, and they tracked Tyler's scent through the woods. They tracked his scent into an abandoned Girl Scout camp that was about a mile away from his car, and the trail circled back to the main road. And this led lots of people to speculate that maybe Tyler had been picked up on the main road, but no person has ever been identified, and along the route they found no signs of Tyler's belongings. Another important thing to note is that the route that the dogs took, that they found Tyler's scent on, was not along a marked trail. It was following a drainage ditch, and it was mountainous terrain, and it's described as moderate difficulty, and Tyler was not outdoorsy. So this would have been a really odd choice for him to go on a trail that was not marked clearly and was of moderate difficulty. So back in his car, authorities found a cup of chai tea in the passenger side cup holder. And this probably seems like just one of those little pieces of information that is silly and doesn't make any sense. Why would I bring this up? But Tyler's family has said that Tyler hated chai tea. He would not have picked chai tea as a beverage, and so why was it in his car? Everybody thought that it must have been somebody else's cup, that maybe he had a passenger in the car, but when authorities tested the DNA on the cup, it came back as Tyler's. So it's just very strange that he would have chosen a drink that he didn't like, and it was in the passenger side cup holder. but it had his DNA on it. A co-worker of Tyler's mentioned that he saw Tyler's car parked in the parking lot of the furniture store that they worked at the morning of Tyler's disappearance. He said it was probably around 6 a.m., which would have been the time that Tyler usually arrived to work, but he could not tell who was in the car. So my question is, if this is true, why would Tyler have driven to work, but then backtracked to the mountain where his car was found? There's just so many questions in this case that are completely unanswered. So police started digging into Tyler, and they saw on June 19th, 2016, Tyler was seen on surveillance camera at a local Walmart purchasing a .22 caliber rifle. He also went into a second unidentified store and bought ammunition. And Tyler, like we said before, did not like the outdoors. He hated hunting. He was against hunting. And the family was shocked that Tyler would have purchased a gun. And they said that Tyler never mentioned purchasing a weapon, and they just didn't understand why he was doing this. But it was definitely 100% Tyler on the surveillance video. He was alone when he purchased this gun. Just a little side fact to throw in there for you is that Arizona did not have a waiting period to purchase a gun or ammunition at the time. I'm not sure what their laws are now, but I know that back then they had no waiting period. So he was able to just walk into the store and purchase both of those items. And as of my research, nobody knows where the gun is. It has never been located. And police and family tend to think that Tyler probably took it with him, but we have no evidence pointing one way or the other where this gun could have gone. Hualapai County Search and Rescue searched the area, but they were not able to find anything relating to Tyler's disappearance. So speaking about the police in this case, they downplayed this disappearance right from the start. Like I said, they said that they couldn't do anything for 48 hours, which is something that you hear quite often. I don't know, though, if this is law. I don't think it is. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Let me know. But I don't think that it's a law that police have to wait 48 hours to start searching for somebody. I think that's just what they do, which I don't know why. But anyways, they downplayed his disappearance. Tyler's sister Jessica tried to bring in a private investigator at one point. And when she tried to bring this investigator in, police said that they would not continue working on Tyler's case if this outside investigator was also working on it. And police said that they didn't like the way that this investigator worked and that his methods were dirty, and so Jessica had to choose between this investigator or the police. It was really a him versus us mentality going on, and so unfortunately, you know, Jessica had to get rid of the private investigator so that police would keep working on Tyler's case. And you know, she wasn't trying to step on any toes or anything like that. She just wanted to bring in more manpower and get more eyes on Tyler's case. But she just didn't want to lose that local support. So she chose not to work with the private investigator. So another theory that the police had, and this is the one I think that they've stuck with and the reason why they've backed off of his case so much, is because they believe that Tyler ran off with a wealthy older man. I haven't seen anything that points toward this. Tyler had online dating profiles set up, and he had told people at work that he had a girlfriend. All of Tyler's family, Jessica included, said that they never knew that Tyler was gay, that he had never said anything to them, or that he had a lover, and they just didn't believe that he would have run away with a lover. And there's really no clear reason why police believe this. All of his online profiles said that he was looking for a woman. So I'm not sure if maybe they found other secret profiles that they just haven't released. But according to the family, they don't really know why police have leaned into this theory so much. So police did dig into Tyler's phone records, and they said that his phone pinged off of a tower in the mountains the morning of his disappearance. It was a 9 a.m. call to his mother, but it wasn't a very long call. They did not speak to one another. It seems like he may have dialed the wrong number and then hung up very quickly, or maybe like a butt dial or something like that, because they didn't speak and it was very, very quick. But it's important because this places Tyler in the mountains the morning of his disappearance. Tyler's sister Jessica said that after his disappearance, she sent him Facebook messages. She was hoping that maybe if he had run away, he would answer her Facebook messages and let her know that he was okay. She didn't hear anything from him, but a month after he went missing, somebody logged into his account and read the messages. They never replied to her, but I don't know if you have Facebook, but if you do, I'm sure you know when you read a message, it'll put on there, seen at whatever time. So somebody read those messages, and since then, no messages have been read or answered. Jessica went to the police, though, because the police had Tyler's computer, and she wanted to know if maybe they had read the messages. So Jessica reached out to them to see if they had read the messages, but they replied and confirmed that it was not them. The messages had been read in the middle of the night, so nobody knows who read these messages. Could it have been Tyler? Could it have been somebody else that logged into his account, hacked into his account? Nobody knows for certain. So there's a few different theories with this case. There's one that I lean more into, and we'll get into it, but the first theory is that he was meeting with somebody and he fell victim to this person. Maybe he met somebody online and they were friends, or so he thought, and they wanted to get together with him and they ended up hurting him or taking him. Another theory is that maybe he was lured into sex trafficking. Tyler's sister Jessica thought that maybe this could be a potential possibility just because he was online all the time. But there's no evidence that points towards that. And then the last theory that I'm going to just bring up really fast is that perhaps the parents had something to do with it. Specifically, the father, Brian. A lot of people lean towards this being what actually happened. So let's just talk about Brian for a minute. Brian Stice was Tyler's dad, and he had served prison time. He was convicted for lewd acts with a minor, and it has been reported that Jessica was the victim of Brian Stice. He was Jessica's stepfather, and it is known that he served 16 years for this crime. Also important to note that Stephanie, who is Tyler and Jessica's mother, stuck by Brian's side through all of that. Obviously, this caused a huge rift in the family. Jessica, bless her heart, suffered from depression and addiction, and she just never really got over it, which, how could you? But relatively close to the time when Tyler went missing, Jessica reportedly told Tyler what had happened between her and Brian. Obviously, Tyler knew that Brian had done something and he was sent to prison for it, but I don't think that he ever knew that it was Jessica that was the victim. And so I think that Jessica told him what had happened to her. And so some people believe that maybe he confronted Brian about this because that's his sister and he loved his sister. They were very, very close. And so some speculate that maybe he confronted Brian. Maybe that's why he went and bought the gun and the ammunition. He was going to confront Brian over what he did to his sister. None of this has ever been substantiated, but it is a theory out there. It's also, I just wanted to point out that a lot of people thought that Brian was odd, which I guess, that's not ever going to convict you, but lots of people thought that he was odd. And right after Tyler went missing, his dad started driving his black Ford Mustang, Tyler's pride and joy. He was driving it, Brian was, and I believe he still drives it to this day, which I don't know, but he right after Tyler went missing, he started driving it. And people in town see it every day. They they have said, yeah, we see Tyler's car driving around. Brian's behind the wheel. So it's just kind of weird and unusual, I guess I would say. I do want to say that both parents, Brian and Stephanie, were both questioned by the police. They both took polygraph tests and passed, as far as I know. And as far as I know, they are not named suspects or persons of interest, but a lot of people have their questions about the family. Jessica also thinks that it's suspicious how fast her parents moved on after Tyler disappeared. She said the car situation. She also said that very, very quickly after Tyler went missing, they turned his bedroom into an office, and she said that it suggested that they knew that he wasn't coming home. I watched a very, very good YouTube channel. It's called Explore With Us, and they've deep dived into Tyler's case. I highly, highly recommend you go watch their videos. They go way more into detail than I do, and they even go out into, you know, the area that Tyler went missing. It's very, very good information. But they spoke with Jessica, and she confided to them that Stephanie, her mother, had tried to have her admitted into a psych ward. And when that didn't happen, she coerced Jessica into taking seizure medications that she did not need. And it was highly, highly detrimental to her mental health, to Jessica's mental health. She said that she felt like she was absolutely losing her mind, and she said that her symptoms were memory loss, speech and motor problems, and an inability to function normally. She believes that her mother put her on these medications to silence her from speaking out about what she knew about the family and Tyler's disappearance. She even mentioned that she feared that her mother was trying to get rid of her permanently. Obviously, there is no way to substantiate these claims, but it is a speculative theory, and Jessica did confide these things to Explore With Us. Jessica was Tyler's biggest proponent. She had many, many struggles in her life. She was the victim of abuse. She lost her baby in a drowning accident. She had depression. She suffered from addiction. And unfortunately, Jessica passed away at her home in 2018 at the age of 32. And so, unfortunately, she passed away without having any justice for Tyler or ever figuring out what happened to her little brother. So it has been 5 years since Tyler's disappearance, and there are still no answers as to what happened. If you know anything about Tyler or his disappearance, please contact the proper authorities. I will leave some links down below like I always do. And yeah, if you know anything about this, please let them know so that we can find justice for Tyler and justice for Jessica too. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something. I would love it if you gave it a like, and if you're not already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.